got so much respect for Steve Kerr. I loved Steve Kerr as a coach for the Warriors. I loved Steve Kerr as a broadcaster on TNT. I've always had I've always really liked Steve Kerr. His career coming up as a player, his story of where he was from way back when, and his parents, and he's just an interesting guy. His college career, and then of course playing with the Bulls. Otherwise, none of us would even know who he is. But you realize that Steve Kerr was in the middle of this whole Michael Jordan documentary that we've all been obsessing over. And when Jordan admits, this is what one of my favorite parts of the 2 hours last night, when Jordan admits that he picked on Steve Kerr because Steve Kerr was the lowest guy on the team. Meaning, you got to have a number one guy and you got to have the last guy on the bench. And I'm not saying that Steve Kerr was absolutely the last guy on the bench because I don't remember if there was somebody, but Browner, you might know the roster better. But Kerr was the little guy. He was the shorter, scrappy, competitive white guy who can't possibly athletically, physically, talent-wise be on the same floor with Michael Jordan. He's scrapping away as best he can. He's competitive as a mother. Phil Jackson's giving him all kinds of calls just to mess with Michael, which goes to show you the brilliance of Phil Jackson, by the way, that you even had the courage to coach a superstar. Jordan punches Kerr in the face and admits, I screwed up because, dude, he was the low guy. He was the small guy, and I took it out on him. But Kerr, being a scrapper and standing up to Jordan the way he did, created this respect between the two of them. And Jordan telling the story of calling Kerr and apologizing, I thought it was incredible drama. So when I found this Golden State Warriors today, I said, shout out to Steve Kerr because that was a really interesting part of the Last Dance episodes last night. What'd you think of it, Browner?
My takeaway from that particular conversation back and forth was that I don't get why people underrate Steve Kerr so much. Steve Kerr actually played meaningful minutes in that three-peat. So for people to say like, oh, yeah, he was small just because in stature, yeah, he was small compared to the guys he was up against, but he was a far more contributor to the roster, to the championship, to the success than someone else in that roster like a Dickie Simpkins or a Luke Longley started, but he didn't contribute. Bill Winnington didn't necessarily contribute. He played. Judd Buechler made shots. He didn't necessarily contribute, nor really played. So Scott Burrell contributed. He didn't really play. Steve Kerr was a main feature on that roster. So the reason why Jordan socked him in the face was because he stood up to him, which I thought was brave on Steve Kerr's behalf because Bill Winnington wouldn't have done that. Luke Longley wasn't going to do that. They were afraid of Michael Jordan. You saw what he did to Scott Burrell. Scott Burrell's a big guy, scared of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he picked on Steve Kerr because Steve Kerr was smaller, was white, was probably considered the easiest target of them all. Because if he would have hauled off and punched Scott Burrell, which you don't think Scott Burrell would have punched him back, but it's a competitive situation at that point.